Procrastination. What if the reason why you procrastinate is because your nervous system is detecting a lot of threats in your system to the point that it's keeping you frozen for a reason as a means to protect you? Consider that for a minute. Consider if that makes sense to how you're experiencing the lack of action, even though you have all that passion and that energy and that drive to take action, but somehow you can't. This is a very typical symptom of being in a freeze response. This response isn't talked about much because it hasn't been really fully understood until recently. And the different approaches really prevent us from truly understanding this physiological state of threat, of survival mode that our body is in, which then prevents us from taking the action that we want. This goes beyond the logical things of putting a timer, doing the Pomodoro technique. Those are definitely important, but only up until we get out of this freeze energy. So today in this video, we're going to talk about freeze and what it actually feels like in our bodies. And again, this is nervous system work, which means that we're using our bodies a lot. Why? Because contrary to popular belief, where everything is just, I'm just going to think my way through it, your mind is powerful. Absolutely. But your nervous system involves your bodily systems. It controls our bodies. And as a matter of fact, there are more sensory information coming from our bodies up to our brains that actually influences the thoughts that we think a lot more, like 80% body to brain compared to brain to body. So when we can harness this skill, which is really the key principles in nervous system work, we can truly harness how to take action in ways that is going to be beneficial for our health. One of the things that is important to a lot of us is movement, right? We know intuitively, we don't have, no one has to sell this to us, right? We know that moving our bodies is crucial. Our bodies are meant to move. Our bodies are not meant to sit on our ass 12 hours a day. That's just not what it's meant to do. But somehow, maybe you're in a spot where you're just like, I really want to exercise, but I'm not motivated. I have this passion. I know that I can do it. There are so many benefits when I have done it in the past, but I just hate it. You can't seem to physically do it. So, I'm going to talk to you now about the symptoms that happen in a freeze state so that you can see whether or not you are in this state because it takes a specialized approach to actually move out of the freeze state, and it does not include relaxation. Relaxing a body that is in freeze state ain't gonna do shit. It's not gonna do anything. So inaction in freeze state is actually the opposite of what you want to do. So contrary to the more popular nervous system regulation tools that are out there about calming the system down, this is not applicable for the freeze state, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So when we're in a freeze state, it's like a deer in the headlights, right? That freeze state is very much like we are in this state, and this is the third line of defense, the last line of defense of the nervous system. It's already gone through the first line, it went through the second line, and now we are on the third line of defense. And we are in the spot where we are very activated in terms of our sympathetic nervous system. Like we have a lot of energy in our system, but at the same time, we also have the freeze, which is more of the dorsal vagal response, which makes us immobile, right? That is freeze, that is immobile. We have overridden the fight or flight response already. That didn't work. So now we are in immobile energy conservation state, but in particular freeze, we just have that energy. So typically it's the feeling of I really want to take action. You have that sympathetic drive of moving forward or moving away, but you can't. It's like you're stuck Maybe it feels like cement, you're stuck in cement, you're stuck in quicksand, you can't get out, you're just right. This is the typical feeling of being stuck. You want to go somewhere, you want to do something about it, but you can't. And it's in a situation where we want to say something. We want to say something, but we cannot voice it, right? It's either, standing up against someone who has mistreated us, or or just saying something that we truly mean. It's that inability to voice what we actually want. And in this state, also, there's a lot of dissociation and disconnection from our body. We're in this state of complete dysregulation where we know we got to do things, but there's just a disconnect with our body. Our mind and body are doing different things. And it feels like I said, it feels like we are like there is some motivation, but somehow we can't. We are literally frozen. And you probably use those words to describe it, just feel frozen when you're trying to do something. This is typical for a freeze state. And again, this is the third line of defense. At this point, our body is like, I'm going to conserve some energy because I can't seem to fight off this stressor, whatever that is. And this is due to chronically not taking care of ourselves. I have been in freeze. It is not a pleasant experience. And I only have myself to blame for this because I really didn't prioritize my health back then, which then led me to go this far. So at this point, we have gone through chronic dysregulation, chronic stress, the inability to fight off the stressor, the inability to move back into our regulated state. And that's why we are here. And so the good news is once you actually learn what this state feels like from the symptoms that I just said, you can actually do something about it. Now, neuroplasticity is a great thing. Neuroplasticity comes both ways. So when we're in a freeze state, we have a neuroplasticity in a nutshell is our brain and nervous system's ability to change. And so maybe before we were extremely motivated, we were able to do all of these things, we were capable of doing all of these things. And then through neuroplasticity, it changed because we were so chronically stressed out and unmanaged our stress levels. But we have used neuroplasticity for our disadvantage into an unhealthy pattern. And because we can do that, we can also shift again the other way. So freeze is a very, very interesting response because it involves the two survival states of the fight or flight and also the dorsal vagal state. Inside the neuroplasticity jumpstart workshop, we talk about freeze as well in more detail. But what you want to do first is you want to first start being connected with your body. So how can you connect with your body a little bit more? Can you turn your attention inwards towards your body? Can you start feeling your body? Even just starting to touch, rub your fingers together, start being really in touch with your body in a free state. We're like this. So micro movements is going to be a lot better here than fast movements or even more relaxation. Our energy levels are already pretty low, are low in the tank, even though we have that sympathetic activation, it's mostly going to be low. So how we get out of it is we want to up regulate our system. We want to start putting more energy in our body to get us out of that stuckness, that frozen feeling. And really something easy is rubbing your fingers, touching your body, placing attention on the different sensations, micro movements to start off with until you can have bigger movements throughout your body. The key for freeze is really starting to move your body, starting with little movements, making sure that you're upright, you stand up instead of just lying down all the time. You want to upregulate, right? So we want to stand up. I'm sitting now, but even just if you want to start sitting upright, and then start standing up and really start feeling your body. You can even rub your feet on the floor. And once you start to be more aware with your body, you have that connection, you have that sensory information, then what you're probably going to realize is that extra sympathetic nervous system energy, that extra fight or flight response starts to also now come up. And now you want to use up that energy. So you bring your energy up a little bit, that gets you out of the freeze. And after that, there will be heightened response from the sympathetic nervous system in freeze. And so what you want to do is then move your body, engage in some activity like walking and or something really brisk, just for 5 minutes, get your heart rate up, whatever that is. It could be just going on YouTube and looking at a walking class or walking workouts. They have those, dancing, whatever feels good to you. Jumping jacks, push-ups, whatever. You want to use up and utilize that sympathetic energy as well, because you want to then now downregulate back to the first line of defense, which is going to be the more regulated state. So there was a lot of information there, I know, but this is a really, really crucial state. This was a state that I didn't realize I was in until obviously a long time later. And let me tell you, relaxing more, meditating more did not help this state. It was movement. And I needed to move. I needed to get my ass up moving from being frozen all the time because I was so stuck in frozen mode that became my homeostasis, which is something that is not me. Like I go, 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 right? And I actually do like that part of me because this has this driven personality is truly who I am. So being stuck in Frozen was not really true to who I am because it was a temporary state that I'm in from not taking care of myself, which was my fault. But at the same time, it was recognizing that and then choosing to actually move. This, again, this state is not going to be best helped by the typical meditation, visualization, self affirmations all day long. This is going to make it worse because we are not taking action. Action, movement is what truly gets us out because when your homeostasis is on freeze and you keep on not doing anything, what do you think that'll do? That homeostasis is going to stay the same. And now we were going to start. So then an antidote to it is to then start regulating, start moving more so that movement again becomes the new homeostasis. And then we're not stuck at procrastination mode. So I hope this helped. And this was truly transformational for you. Very atypical and unconventional way to look at it, maybe a bit counterintuitive. Hell, it works. And that's what counts, right?